For the past century, if you had celiac disease, doctors had exactly one treatment option for you. Avoid gluten completely for the rest of your life. Miss even a tiny crumb, and your immune system would attack your intestines. But that's all about to change, and the breakthrough happening right now could transform how we treat this condition forever. I'm talking about two revolutionary drugs that just completed clinical trials, and their results are nothing short of remarkable. Instead of just avoiding the problem, these treatments actually fix what's broken in your immune system. We're looking at the biggest leap forward in celiac disease treatment since we discovered gluten was the culprit in the first place. Let me explain what makes this so groundbreaking. Right now, about 1 in 100 people worldwide have celiac disease. When they eat gluten, their immune system goes haywire and starts destroying the lining of their small intestine. The damage makes it impossible to absorb nutrients properly, leading to everything from severe stomach pain to malnutrition, bone disease, and even increased cancer risk. The only solution has been the gluten-free diet, which sounds simple but is incredibly difficult in practice. Gluten hides in everything from soy sauce to medications. Cross-contamination in restaurants is nearly inevitable. Many patients still have symptoms even when they're being careful, and the constant vigilance takes a serious psychological toll. But here's where it gets exciting. Scientists have developed two completely different approaches that target the root cause instead of just managing symptoms. The first drug, called TPM502, essentially reprograms your immune system to stop attacking gluten. The second, ZED1227, blocks the enzyme that makes gluten dangerous in the first place. Let's start with TPM502, because this one sounds like science fiction. It uses microscopic nanoparticles loaded with pieces of gluten protein. Now, you might think that sounds dangerous, but here's the genius part. These nanoparticles deliver the gluten fragments directly to specific cells in your liver that specialize in teaching your immune system what to ignore. It's like sending your immune system back to school. Instead of seeing gluten as a foreign invader, these liver cells train your T cells to recognize gluten as harmless. The treatment creates regulatory T cells that actively suppress the inflammatory response to gluten. Think of them as peacekeepers that step in whenever your immune system starts getting aggressive about gluten. The clinical trial results were impressive. Patients who received the highest dose of TPM502 showed a 63% reduction in inflammatory markers after being exposed to gluten. Even more importantly, they reported 45% less nausea and 37% less abdominal pain during gluten challenges. The effects lasted for at least 6 months after treatment ended. Now, ZED1227 takes a completely different approach. Instead of retraining your immune system, it stops the problem at the source. When you eat gluten, an enzyme called transglutaminase 2 modifies the gluten proteins, making them more likely to trigger an immune response. ZED1227 blocks this enzyme. It's like putting a guard at the door. The gluten is still there, but it can't be transformed into the version that causes problems. In clinical trials, patients taking ZED1227 could eat gluten for 6 weeks with minimal intestinal damage. Their intestinal lining stayed healthy, and genetic analysis showed their gut tissue looked almost normal despite ongoing gluten exposure. What's really remarkable is how well both drugs worked. ZED1227 prevented 89% of intestinal damage in patients who were accidentally exposed to gluten. TPM502 helped 68% of patients who hadn't responded well to the gluten-free diet alone. These aren't just marginal improvements. We're talking about life-changing results. The safety profiles look good too. TPM502's most common side effects were mild headaches and minor reactions at the injection site. ZED1227 occasionally caused a temporary rash, but nothing serious. No one experienced the severe allergic reactions that researchers worried about with nanoparticle therapy. Here's what this means for real people. Imagine being able to eat at restaurants without interrogating the waiter about every ingredient. Picture not having to carry emergency medications everywhere or worry about whether your friends understand how serious cross-contamination is. Think about kids with celiac disease being able to eat birthday cake at parties or grab pizza with friends. These drugs work differently, so they might be used for different situations. ZED1227 is a daily pill that works quickly, making it perfect for protection against accidental exposure. TPM502 requires intravenous infusions every few weeks, but the effects last months, potentially offering long-term immune tolerance. Researchers are already exploring combination therapy. Early studies suggest using both drugs together might be even more effective than either alone. The idea is that ZED1227 could provide immediate protection while TPM502 gradually resets your immune system's response to gluten. The timeline for availability looks promising. Both drugs are moving into phase 3 trials, which means we're looking at potential FDA approval by late 2027 or early 2027. That might seem far away, but in pharmaceutical terms, it's remarkably fast for such a complex condition. There are still questions to answer. We need to understand the long-term effects of immune system reprogramming. Cost will be a significant factor. Estimates suggest these treatments could run $15,000 to $20,000 per year. Insurance coverage will likely be a major battleground. But the potential impact extends beyond just celiac disease. The nanoparticle approach being used in TPM502 could revolutionize treatment for other autoimmune conditions like multiple sclerosis, type 1 diabetes, or rheumatoid arthritis. If we can teach the immune system to stop attacking gluten, we might be able to teach it to stop attacking insulin-producing cells or joint tissue. For the celiac community, this represents hope they haven't had in generations. We're moving from a world where the only option was perfect dietary restriction to a one where we might actually cure the underlying immune dysfunction. The gluten-free diet will probably always be part of the picture, but it might not have to be perfect anymore. The science behind these treatments is complex, but the promise is simple. A future where having celiac disease doesn't mean living in constant fear of your next meal. After decades of telling patients their only option was avoidance, we're finally attacking the problem at its source. What do you think about these developments? Are you excited about the possibility of treating autoimmune diseases by reprogramming the immune system rather than just suppressing it?